So, what now? As I record this, it's election day, or rather the end of a long election season, and the end, I hope, of what has felt like an interminable, permanent campaign mode we've all been living in. Right now, the polls are still open and will be for hours into this evening. I've got my sticker and my free pen, but it will be a long time before anybody knows the results of the elections being held all across our country. We're all sitting on a nice edge, kind of wondering how things will go. We find ourselves asking, at least I do, what now? And I get it. Of course, we care about the outcomes of elections. Of course, we want to be decent human beings and good citizens who participate in the representative form of government that we happen to live under. And I get it that just about everybody I know has felt they've had pretty stark and clear choices in front of them, and a lot of people have known for a very, very long time who they would vote for. It feels like there's a lot on the line today. So of course we're all feeling antsy and a little on edge. And I get the impatience and the tension. My goodness, I have a hard enough time waiting not to poke the chocolate chip cookies in the oven before they're ready. So I get it. But at the same time, it seems to me the answer to our question, for people who name the name of Jesus, the answer to the question, what now, has actually never been more clear. At least if we dare to see and think and pray clearly. The work is already cut out for us, and it has been for an embarrassingly long time, like millennia. The work that is there waiting for us to do, it's been shouting to us from the scriptures, from the ancient words of Leviticus. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. You shall not hate your neighbor or anyone of your kin in your heart. I am the Lord your God. Learn to do good, seek justice. Rescue the oppressed, defend the orphan, plead for the widow, says Isaiah. And later on, isn't this the fast that I choose? To let the oppressed go free, to break every yoke? Is it not to share your bread with the hungry, to bring the homeless poor into your house when you see the naked, to cover them, and not to hide yourself from your own kin? Then your light shall break forth like the dawn, and your healing shall spring up quickly. Or the prophet Micah, he has told you, O mortal, what's good, and what does the Lord require of you, but to do justice, to love kindness, to walk humbly with your God. Again and again and again, the prophets, the lawgivers keep giving us this work to do. Jesus himself gives us as well. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, they will inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for justice to be done, they will be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they will receive mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called the children of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted for justice' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. And even down the Apostle Paul, let love be genuine. Hate what is evil, hold fast to what is good. Love one another with mutual affection. Outdo one another in showing honor. Rejoice in hope. Be patient in suffering. Persevere in prayer. Contribute to the needs of the saints. Extend hospitality to strangers. Bless those who persecute you. Bless and do not curse. Rejoice with those who rejoice. Weep with those who weep. Do not repay anyone evil for evil, but take thought for what is noble in the sight of all. Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. Look, honestly, it's the voting part the scriptures are kind of foggy on. The writers of both the Hebrew scriptures and the New Testament alike had no vision of a system or living in a system of representative government. And even big-name church authorities like our older brother in the faith, Martin Luther, couldn't imagine living in a system or in a land where everybody voted for the leaders or policies that they would pursue. So while I firmly believe that we need to use the resources, the privileges, the responsibilities we've been given with our form of government that we happen to live under, to vote in ways that we can look our children in the eye about unflinchingly, I also think the work we're given to do now, even in this moment, even in the waiting and the uncertainty about election results, it's as clear as it's ever been. Do justice. Love mercifully, walk humbly, care for the last and the lost and the least, and put the needs of the widow, the orphan, the foreigner, the poor, the folks on the side of the road above our own interests, my own interests. Welcome the homeless, pour into our places of shelter, even into our church buildings where we have the means. Help the folks who have been ignored to be heard, and use the platforms that we have to help them to be heard. Create a safe place for folks who are outcast and vulnerable. Commit to treating people rightly and decently, and teach our children to do the same, and point them toward role models who teach them that as well. Love the people who are easy to love, and practice, like it's an exercise of your spiritual muscles, to love the people we most struggle with. They're all our neighbors, especially the stinkers. And remember, you're a stinker too, and so am I, more often than I'd like to admit. Regard the least of these as though we are being given the honor of hosting Jesus himself, because we are. None of that needs to wait until election results are published. None of that needs to hold off until we have anybody's permission to do it. None of that needs your party or mine to be in power for that to happen. I mean, to be sure, we would hope that elected and appointed officials in our government would make it easier for those things to happen. And part of how we decide whom to vote for, at least as I see it, has to do with who I think will work best along those trajectories. But again, for the earliest followers of Jesus, they had no illusions that the empire was going to help them feed the widows in their community, or that Caesar was going to help them teach their children to answer hatred with love. Look, if it happens that we get leaders who make our mission easier, great, call that a win. That's one less headache to deal with. But if not, we're still not off the hook for doing the work we've been called to as the strange and blessed community of people who follow Jesus. Our work may be harder or made easier by the people who are in power, but it is still our work. There's this beautiful poem of the late theologian and pastor Howard Thurman that he wrote about Christmas time. It's one that feels right for this moment too, especially when we may feel uncertain and anxious about what comes next. This poem goes like this. When the song of the angels is stilled, when the star in the sky is gone, when the kings and princes are home, when the shepherds are back with their flock, the work of Christmas begins. To find the lost, to heal the broken, to feed the hungry, to release the prisoner, to rebuild the nations, to bring peace among all, to make music in the heart. The good Reverend Thurman, he's just riffing on those words we heard from the scriptures. And he's right. When the big momentous day is over, whether it's Christmas or Election Day or anything else you have marked in your calendar, the real work is ready and waiting for us, doing justice, loving mercifully, walking humbly. So what now? Well, for me, I'm going to lace up my walking shoes, and me and my family, we're going to order dinner from our current favorite Middle Eastern restaurant, and I'm going to make sure I eat some falafel before the day is over, and we're going to get ready for the work that's in front of us, the work God's already up to in the world. And you are invited too, and anybody else you want to bring along with you. We're going to love like Jesus. Today, tomorrow, and the third day too. Let's get going.